I got a question. It's a pretty serious question, and I think it's a good way to start this series. And I think for most of us, we'll think we know the answer right up front, but hopefully as we go through this series, that the answer will become abundantly clear to you. And my question is this: do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? I think growing up here in East Texas, I think we're kind of born with this idea that there is a God and that we believe in God, that we believe there is a God, and pretty much everybody says that. I don't know that I've ever actually talked to anyone that I would say, do you believe in God? They would actually say no. I think everyone believes in God. But what I want to do in this series is I want to talk about what it means and what it looks like if we believe in God. And I say that very, very seriously, if we believe in God. I hope that today you wore your defensive garments, because we're going on full-fledged offense mode, if that's all right. See, here's my thing. I believe that unless we confront ourselves, unless something is offensive to us, we won't take note of ourselves. We won't take inventory of our lives. I don't think we'll actually even be aware that anything's going on. And if I'm not aware that anything's going on, then I'm sure not going to change anything, right? But I operate under the theory that you're here today because you truly want life. I don't believe there's any fathom going to church if I didn't want to change. I can't fathom going in and being around a bunch of holy roller, Holy Ghost people talking about Jesus and God, listening to worship music. I can't fathom doing that if I don't, in fact, want something different in my life. If I don't want something more in my life. And I think that's why you're here. So if that's not why you're here, well, you're just going to just sit back and enjoy. You don't have to do anything. It's just no offense taken, none given. That's the way it is. But I truly believe that I have evidence in my own life that I did not believe in God for most of my life. And hopefully I can explain this today where you'll start to understand this series is called Worship. And worship, I believe, has to start with believing in God. Now, I have to give a disclaimer. I think it's true. I think everyone believes in God. Little g. Okay. Because worship is how, let me define worship. Okay, let's get started this way. Let me define worship for you. All right? Everybody got a pen, something to write with? Or are you just going to, like I do, just... Celia said, do you want your notes this morning? I'm like, right here. I need it. But worship, what is worship? Now, I've heard a million different definitions of worship, and so I figure if there's a million, then I'm going to toss one in the ring. Right? This is my definition of worship. Okay? And I don't believe worship is just like everybody's like, worship is sacrifice. Okay? And by that, I'm actually probably going to do a message in this series on that. And we talk about worship as music. I'm going to do a message on that, and I believe that's true, but I don't believe that's the overall encompassing meaning of worship. I believe worship is this. Are you ready to ride? Are you excited about this? Yeah! A lot of you guys are like, what a good is a worship series going to do my life? Just hang on. Okay. Worship is this, and this will help you to know what this series is about. Worship is moving the center of my life to what I believe gives life. Worship is structuring or restructuring or moving the very core center of my life to the one thing that I believe gives life. Now, we may not go at our worship in that way. We may just wake up one day and realize that we're worshipers, but we didn't intentionally move our lives. But I think we can intentionally, in this series, I think we can intentionally center our lives on the one thing that gives life. So what worship is a moving or a centering or a transitioning of my whole being, of my whole life. The word life translates in the Bible most of the time a word Zoe, which is like life or living. But the word that, what I'm talking about right now, the word translates about half 50-50 is soul or life. And sometimes it's translated soul, sometimes it's translated life. Every once in a while it's translated heart. Heart being the center of my being. So what I'm talking about is not your life, your living, breathing air life. I'm talking about your life. When I say your life, do you know what I'm talking about? Like all the things that are encompassing of your life. It has to do with your kids, your family, your decisions, your money, your free time, your entertainment. These are your life, right? These are the things, it has to do with your will and your emotions. It has to do with what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you frustrated, what makes you angry, what gives you joy, what gives you pleasure. These are your life, okay? So what we're talking about is a centering of all that I call life on the one thing that I believe gives life. And we'll call that one thing that gives life God. Little g. Okay? How you like that? Man, Wednesday night, how many of you guys were here Wednesday night? About blew the walls out. That'll wake you up. Okay. Little g. When I say little g, I don't mean the big G. Obviously. When I say little g, I mean little God. God with a little g. See, we all believe in God, little g. But I think that very, very few people in America believe in God. Now, I think if you define the word, here we go to definitions again. I'm a word person. Any other word people in here? Words matter to me. I pick and choose my words very carefully. My wife doesn't think so, but I do. Pick and choose my words carefully. The word believe has a multitude of definitions, doesn't it? And here's the problem. Most of the time when I say, do you believe in God, you answer the question in a way that I would have asked, do you think there is a God? Okay? That wasn't what I asked. I said, do you believe in God? Maybe I need to put the emphasis on the in part. Right? The word believe in the Greek way that it's talked about comes from the same root word that the word faith does, or it's the word pistis, okay? And what it comes to, the word believe actually means to entrust or to have faith in. It's hard to define a word with the same word, right? To believe or have faith in, or to entrust yourself to. Well, what's the difference? Well, one is a thought. I think there is a God. I believe there is a God. I believe there's a New York City. I've never been there, but I believe there is one. Okay, now this may all be just fake. I mean, they can do anything on television, right? I've never seen it, but I believe there is one. I actually have friends that have been there, so I can say, well, I have eyewitness account that there is New York City. But I believe there is one. Well, that's not what I'm talking about, okay? If you say to your kid, okay, I went to my daughter's first t-ball game this week. Have you guys ever been to your daughter's first t-ball game? What an experience. What an experience. Chaos, danger everywhere, total fear, lostness, complete obedience to the rules, because like they told my daughter, their coach told their team, this is your position, stay in your position. The ball's hit. They forgot the other part, you know. Stay in your position. Well, I went to my daughter's first t-ball game, and And Ella may be little, but man, she can whack a baseball. She takes all of her aggression out that she wants to hit her older sister with, and she puts it into the baseball. Well, when she goes up to that, as a parent, I would say, I believe in you. Okay? I believe in you. I believe that you can do this. I believe in you. Okay, now we understand the difference between believing in and believing in, right? I don't believe, she's standing right in front of me. I don't have to tell you I believe in you. I can touch you, I can slap you, I can hit you, I can ground you, I can do all these things. No, I believe in you means something different. I trust you. I trust that you can do this. Do you understand what it means to believe in, right? Okay. So we say we believe in God, but our minds translate, I think there is a God. Well, that has nothing to do with becoming a Christian. It has nothing to do with being born again. It has absolutely zero to do with having life, with coming alive, with being resurrected, transformed, changed. It has nothing to do with the word eternal life, or full, or whole, or complete, or endless life. It has nothing to do with that. All it means is that you believe there's a God. You think there is one. Whoopee. I love James, man, this writer in the Bible. He says, wow, that's amazing. And I'm paraphrasing, because I think James was as sarcastic as I am. James would say something like, wow, that's amazing that you believe in God, because Satan and all the demons do too. I like, yeah, wow. Let me pat you on the back for believing in God. But Satan and all the demons don't entrust themselves to God. And so the word believe means to entrust or believe in or trust that God, what we call God, big G, God, is life. Now that's way different than believing there is a God or thinking there is a God. Believing in God says that God is life. Here's the problem. Here's why most people don't believe in God, and even people who live in East Texas don't believe that there's a God. Because he's just not real. He's just simply not real. He's never been made known or manifest to us. So we say, well, I believe there's a God. But we live as if he doesn't exist because he's not real to us. What I want you to experience in this series is that I want you to experience that there is a God, big G. That he is very real. And that he desperately wants to make himself known to you. That he wants to make himself known to you. See, if I believe that there is a God, big G, then I'm going to center my life around that fact, because he's the God who spoke into existence everything there is. He is the Almighty, the All-Powerful, the Omnipresent, the Omnipotent. He knows all things. He is love. He is mercy. He is faith. He is power. God isn't powerful as an attribute. God is power. God isn't merciful as an attribute. God is mercy. God isn't loving as an attribute. God is love. God isn't spiritual. God is spirit. Okay? I need you to understand who God is and that he is all of these things. But we don't believe that. We believe there is a God. We don't believe that, and you're like, Todd, come on, man, I believe that. I've been saying omnipotent, omniscient since I was a little kid. I know what those words mean. Well, say them 10 times fast. It means God's everywhere. He's all-knowing. He's all-powerful, right? He's omnipresent. We know we have these attributes. We have these ideas, and we make God a person, and we give him good attributes. But if I believed in God, if I believed there was a God, if I entrusted myself to God, nothing in this world could hold me and nothing in this world would matter. And everything that I do in my life would center up on that one fact that there is a God. And that's exactly how we all live, right? So now you understand why I'm saying we all believe in God. But we got little g's. We believe in little g's. Here's the thing. We worship. Worship means to line up my life on the one thing that I believe gives life. So here's what my life looked like. And if your life looks like that, don't be embarrassed about it. Okay? It's an awareness message. Okay? Just take it. Take it right on the chin, stiffen up, and just take it. The truth is, I was God. I love being God. Here's why. Because I believed in God, so that was good, so I get to go to heaven, all those things, right? I believe in God. But here's something you need to really get hold of. That I didn't trust him, I trusted me. I thought and I believed and I entrusted and I had faith that I knew what was best for me. So I centered up my life on me as God. Well, and you did too. So don't judge. You did. You still do too. No. I see evidence. Here's the evidence. I built my kingdom, okay? The kingdom of Todd. And where Todd was, his kingdom existed. Where God is, his kingdom existed. He rules and reigns in his kingdom. But when I was king and when I was God, I talk about it like it's a long time ago, back when I was God. Like I'm giving a resume. That's funny. Back when I was God, and I know Rick Bell's going to edit this, and Todd's running around saying he's God, so they do that to me with the videos. But I was God, and so I centered everything around me and my decisions. I entrusted myself, right? And I controlled who I let in my life and who I didn't, because I wanted to control the people who added to my life, and I wanted to get rid of the people who took away. The little sucker fish, they're all over. And they would come into your life and they would suck up all of your life, and you get rid of those people, and you bring people who give you. And I love, here's an attribute, or here's a character trait of God, that he's seeking worshipers. So it's a character trait of God, big G and little g, because I'll be honest with you, seeking worshipers. I loved people who worshiped me. That's why I married my wife. She knew I was God, and she worshiped me. I thought she did. She tricked me. But when we're God, we center our lives up on that. So I worshiped me, and I desired worshipers. Okay? And we have a lot of play within this. Sometimes we don't recognize it as that because, we're good Christian folks. And we don't worship ourselves, and we would never say that we're God. Except for me, of course, I will. I would say that I was God. But sometimes we worship money. No. Because money is the root of all evil. No, the worship of money is the root of all evil. The love of money. The worship of money. The centering up my life on money is the root of all evil. Well, money's a very necessary part of life, right? So it's important. I understand that. I like to eat. I'll be honest. I like to eat. too. I enjoy air conditioning. It's my favorite. My second favorite behind eating. I like air conditioning and eating. So those are two of my favorites. So money is a necessary commodity in my life because they don't give air conditioning for free and they don't give money for free, right? But if I center my life up on money, then I start to form everything else. My relationships then start to come about by who causes money to increase, and I push away people who are things that take my money, right? All right. So I'm I'm a worshiper of money. Now that's just rude to say. Nobody would say that, but this is Get Real Sunday. So the truth is, we worship money. We worship money. Here, you know what else I used to worship? I used to worship rock stars. I did. You know how I know that? Because I centered my life up on their lives. I dressed like them. I read about them and studied about them. You know why? I think this is just, I'm psychoanalyzing myself, so deal with it. I think I did because people worshiped them, and I wanted people to worship me. So I did what they did so people would worship me. I think ultimately everything comes down to me being God. But worship is centering my life up on what I believe gives life. Now, I believe these guys had what you would say the life. Like they had the girls, can you imagine? I go to work at 8 o'clock at night. I play for an hour and a half, and I'm off. They had the life. Girls loved them. Every girl loved them. Every guy wanted to be them. They had the life. Man, they were free. They had money. They had these guys, they could even wreck out hotel rooms. They didn't have to regard any rules or anybody. They were rebellious and they were free. And so I centered my life up on that. Worship that. Now you do too. And the reason I know that is because the most popular shows on TV are like these inside access, all access, know everything about everybody reality shows, right? And so people just are glued to it and they're sucked into it and they're like, talking about it. And one of our greatest shows, it's been going on now for 11 years, American Idol? Isn't it like 11 years now? 11 years? But Seinfeld only made it that long. And that's quality. 11 years of idolizing. Why is American Idol so popular? Because we put ourselves in their place. They're worshipped. I want to be God, and they are God. They are American idols. Which means what? Well, they're world idols, because if you're the idol of America, you're the idol and the envy of the entire world. Who's the most powerful person in the world? The next star on American Idol. And we desire to be worshipped. And so we center our lives up. We do what they do. We wear what they wear. We act like they act. We talk like they talk. Well, so you're like, man, I can't stand that reality show. I'm a good Christian. All right. Maybe you worship success. Like you want to achieve, you have goals and you're goal driven, so you want to achieve success. But so who do you entrust with your success? Well, I entrust me. I make wise decisions. I read the right books. I go to the right conferences. I go to the right things. I do all of these things, and I achieve success, or I become successful. Well, ultimately, why? I want to be worshipped. So I focus the center. Here's the crazy thing. Y'all hear the crazy thing? As I center and focus everything up on me, and I worship, I put the center of me as the center of my life, and I move and motion everything in the existence of my realm to me, to worshiping me, and I entrust myself, because honestly, who else are you going to trust? I mean, all the success books are going to say, you got to believe in yourself. You got to trust in yourself, right? Okay. Here's the problem that we have is we want to be God, and God desires worshipers. The problem is, here's the problem, too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Because every one of us want to be God. Every one of us want to be worshipped. And it's like, I'm not going to worship you because you're less than me. And we all think everybody's less than us because we're God. Well, so we move the center of our lives to us, and everybody else moves the center of their lives to them, and so nobody's worshiping each other. We just got a whole bunch of individual self-worship going on. And the thing is, this is how it looks to not believe in God. This is why we worship little g. We worship all kinds of gods. Entertainment is one of the biggest gods we worship. How do I know that? Because it's Sunday morning, and if we worship Big G, God, the center of our lives would be in the fellowship and the communion with people of God, in the singing of songs that praise God, in the coming to the temple of God to worship God and to share and to listen and to learn and to be healed and to be set free and to be delivered. We would center our lives up on that, but we're not, because we're at the lake, or we're at the Little League park, or we're at the ballpark, or we're doing this, or we're doing that, because the center of our lives really isn't God, because we do not believe that He is the almighty, all-powerful, omnipresent God. We believe in everything else. We entrust and center our lives on other things. And the reason that why I say we're not believers in God is because we don't entrust our whole lives. We haven't centered or moved the entire existence of our whole lives into God. You know how I know another, this is one of the best ones. Now, you might put your hockey mask on for this one. All right? I'm coming. If we believe there was a God, we'd quit worrying about our money and we'd tithe because He says to. We would give the first tenth, the first fruits of our labor. We would return to Him because He is God and we trust Him with our finances. So I give you my finances because I entrust my life to you. But we don't, because we tithe to little g. Which is who? Me, or whatever else I've centered my life on. Some of you guys worship your children. Some of you worship your children. They are, and you'll say, oh, they're just the center of my world. And I'll say, yes, they are. That's why they're spoiled, rotten little heathens. Yes, they are. You have made them gods, and they're still poo-pooing in their pants. My God doesn't poo-poo His pants. I don't center my life around someone who doesn't control his bodily functions. Right? Why would we do that? That doesn't make sense. But we center our finances, our home, everything around our kids and their activities. We worship our kids. Here's one of the, and if you're a good Christian from East Texas, here's one of the big ones. Get ready for this. We worship. I have actually been in church where worship is worship, where the Bible is worship, where things of God are worship, where men of God are worship, where music of God is worship. Okay? We center our whole lives around the church, the activities of the church, around the music, around the teacher, around the preacher, around the television evangelist. We send them money and we worship them, and we write them fan mail to preachers. We worship worshipers. Why do we do that? Because God isn't real. And let's just get honest. For most people, God is just not real. God is just not real. And a lot of you guys who are worshipers of worship are going, when's He going to get in the Bible? Because I'm tired of this talk. I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong. Okay, John. I'm gonna give you a scripture. John chapter 4. It's an amazing story. Jesus is running into this Samaritan woman. Jesus is a Jew, and Jews and Samaritans were like oil and water. They didn't mix. They had no, especially a Jewish man and a Samaritan woman. And Jesus is in this conversation with this Samaritan woman, and he's telling her everything about her life, and she starts to believe that he's a prophet. She entrusts what he's saying because he's giving her proof and evidence. He is becoming real. Like, she met him, and he was a Jew. He was some guy. Then he starts to become real. So she's intrigued. She's drawn in. And see, that's the thing. When God becomes real, we become intrigued and we start to be drawn in. And so, and we're in this place now, and she's like, well, and this is in John chapter 4, verse 21, or verse 19, and the woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you're a prophet." Starting to believe that you're real. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is the place where people ought to worship. And Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. You worship what you do not know, and we worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews." And the reason he says that salvation is from the Jews is because she had talked about Messiah coming. So she was aware Messiah was coming, and he was telling her that they don't know what they're doing, but the Jews, that the Messiah was coming through the Jews. Does that make sense? So we get context of what we're talking about here. But this is the important verse. "But the hour is coming and is now here when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit. God is spirit. And those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." See, what he's telling her, and I don't have time to go into what spirit and truth, what I need you to understand is the context. Spirit and truth comes from within. Okay, spirit and truth is a shift in who I am. It's a recentering of the internal. It's an outflow of what I know in the depths of my soul to be absolutely real and true. And true worshipers worship from within. And what is worship? Wow, do I need to start over? It's a centering of my whole life on the one thing that I believe gives life, right? So if I believe I give life, I center my life on that. If I believe money gives life, I center my life on that. If I believe entertainment gives life, I center my life on that. If I believe fame gives life, I center my life on that. I become a worshiper of the one thing that I believe gives life. And God says true worshipers, worshipers of him, worship with the center of their being on him. And then the coolest verse ever. He seeks those kind of worshipers. If you believe there's a God, and you believe in him, and I mean if you have faith in him, if you entrusted yourself into him, if you believe that life itself is within God, then everything in my life will shift to that place. And I can tell you no greater news than this, that God is seeking you. Does that not excite you? Do you want to be pursued by God? Do you want to be chased down, sought after by the Creator, by the all-powerful God? If you want God looking after you, paying attention, pursuing, if you want to play hide and seek and him be the one counting the 10, okay, The God who is over everything, who created everything. If you want him to pursue, seek after you, you got to worship him with all of your heart. Heart, center of life. Don't think all of my heart. Heart being who I am, center of life. True worshipers of the Most High God center everything in their lives on him. Things of this world, if God, listen to me, and some of you can testify, but when God becomes real, when he's real, when he's not imagination or imaginary or some fairy tale character in some book we read, but when he's real, there is nothing in this world that can draw you from him. The world has nothing to offer. You don't stress and you don't worry about things of this world, what you have and what you don't have, what you'll eat and what you don't have to eat, whether you're going to buy this or buy that, or whether you're going to go here or go there. Nothing else becomes relevant when God becomes real. And until God becomes real, you're going to live just like the rest of the world, only you're going to put a C on your shirt for Christian. You're going to slap a bumper sticker on your car, and you're going to try to do better than you did yesterday. But your life is still going to be centered on something other than God as the holy, almighty, all-powerful creator of all things. He's real. He's real. Do you get that? Do you understand that God is real and nothing else matters? That God is real. He is real. And nothing else matters. So here's what I want you to receive today. Is that if everything else matters, if you read about, learn about, give your money to, study about, dress like, go to, rock stars, you're a worshiper of rock stars. If you read about, learn about, study about, talk about, are passionate about, spend your money on, and go to things of God, you are a worshiper of the Most High God. Your life and everything that encompasses life is centered on the one thing that I believe God is real. And that is the heart of worship. And today you should be able to see the difference. All you got to do is really examine your life and say, am I God? Do I entrust me? Do I entrust money? Do I seek fame? What is the center of my life? What does everything else in my life revolve around? Security? Doing good? Kids? Those are not bad things. In context, they're great things. But outside of context, they're deadly things. There is no life outside of the real, live, living God. And you have to ask yourself, what do I worship? What do I worship? It's a simple question. What do I worship? Because if you answer that question with anything other than God, then here's the reality. I'm going to kick you in the teeth real quick before we leave. You don't believe in God. You think there's a God. I'm not saying you don't think there's a God. I'm saying you don't believe in God. And only you know that. Only you know if you believe in God or not. So do you believe in God? That's the question I wanted to ask you today. Do you believe in God? If you guys will stand with me, I want to pray over you, and then we'll dismiss.